How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Most Bitcoin is not really moving. We have some updated numbers showing how hard this money is and how little people want to transact with it. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video to see future videos just like this one. We're also going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl and some flows and that kind of stuff, so stay through to the end. While you're down in the comment section, while you're down in the description, you can check out the link to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrency on leverage. There's no KYC. You can sign up in 2 minutes and start depositing funds, and you can get ready for this next massive breakout or breakdown because you can short or long the market. They also give a deposit bonus up to 20%, which can be used towards fees. So definitely check this out underneath the video. I do think it makes sense to have some kind of trading strategy moving into this bull run, even if it's a small portion of your portfolio. Now, as you can see, Bitcoin had a bit of a double top yesterday. We went right up to this point where we had been before within a couple $100 and then starting to fall back down, or maybe we're just consolidating. Keep in mind, last time we touched it, we made a big move the very same day. We haven't quite seen that yet, but it will be interesting to see, do we get a double top? Do we get rejected here, or do we go right through? Obviously, some of it's going to be dependent on macro. We do have CPI coming tomorrow, February 13. Then we have PPI later in the week, as I said recently. A lot of it does come down to the flows as well. How much are people putting in Bitcoin? How much are the ETFs buying? Which I want to show that here in a second, but let's take a look at what happened last night. Joe Biden said, just like we drew it up, and laser eyes. A lot of people are thinking this is related to Bitcoin. I saw a lot of people posting about this, but they're actually talking about Dark Brandon. I read a whole article on this over on Cointelegraph, and basically it was more of a joke at the Super Bowl, like how it's going around that the Super Bowl is rigged and that Joe Biden is trying to get Kansas City to win, so that way Taylor Swift endorses him for the next campaign. It's just crazy. But apparently it's more of a joke than actually anything else, and it's trying to make him look cooler, right? A little bit edgier. But it's not actually that he loves Bitcoin. He's been actually pretty anti-Bitcoin or anti-crypto in general, or just hasn't really talked about it in a while. You know what else is interesting? Gary Gensler was in the news so much before these Bitcoin ETFs. We have not heard from him in a month. Basically, since those ETFs were approved, we really haven't heard much of anything from him. No one's talking about him. Obviously, he'll get some airtime before the ETH ETFs, but really it's just kind of interesting how things ebb and flow. No one really cares about him anymore. Now, I will say something that people do care about is these massive inflows. This is a chart that I showed yesterday. Showing the inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs. We could have some more massive buying. I will be paying attention to that this week. Obviously, that will drive the crypto market probably more than anything else. And this is a little bit of a recap for this. So I had been looking at this CoinShares report every day or every week for the last 2 or 3 years. But now we have these updated ETF numbers, and this is really what's driving these numbers. Like, it takes up maybe 70-80%, probably more of these numbers, so we can pretty much tell what's going to happen before it happens. But we can see some more specific numbers, and we can see what's happening with other assets. So it shows we had a lot of money going into the crypto market last week, about $1.1 billion just in Bitcoin. And then we did have some going into Ethereum as well, 16.5 million, which is good because up until this point we actually had net outflows. Now we have 13 million year-to-date flows into Ethereum. We had 6.1 million going into Cardano. Now, what did that do for the price of Cardano last week? It's up 7.5% last 7 days, which isn't bad. A lot of other cryptocurrencies up similar amounts, though. Polygon, Tron, Chainlink. So not a huge move for Cardano there, but still good to see if you're a Cardano holder. Overall, though, nice inflows, which is great for everyone that's holding Bitcoin. Orange pilling Jay-Z. This could have been happening yesterday. You can see Jack Dorsey sitting there with his Satoshi shirt, right next to Jay-Z and Beyonce. I didn't even see this. Like I remember them showing Jay-Z and Beyonce, but I did not notice that this is Jack Dorsey right next to it. But obviously Twitter's just blowing up on this, talking about how this was a huge ad for Bitcoin. But I think most people don't even know who Satoshi is. Like I mentioned that was interesting, that was cool. Jack Dorsey was sitting right next to them, and my wife had no idea who Satoshi is. And I told her, and she's heard about Bitcoin 1,000 times from me, but I guess I haven't really talked about Satoshi Nakamoto too much. So that was kind of interesting. A lot of people don't know what this is, and probably didn't even notice Jack. He does have that beard and bigger hair too, so a lot of people probably don't even recognize that he's the guy that created Twitter and talks about Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. Now, a lot of Bitcoin has not been moving at all. 79.3% of Bitcoin hasn't changed hands in the last 6 months. Inelastic supply meets a wall of demand. Yeah, there's a lot of people buying Bitcoin. There's a lot of demand for it, institutional demand for it, and a lot of people just don't want to sell. So yeah, we're moving around like 20% of Bitcoin, but keep in mind, a lot of Bitcoin isn't even on exchanges. So maybe 20% of Bitcoin has changed hands in the last 6 months, which would be, 4 million Bitcoin. But a lot of it's not held on exchanges. So yeah, it was bought 2 or 3 months ago, and now it's just sitting in cold storage. Like, do you think these ETFs that are buying this much Bitcoin are all of a sudden going to start selling? No, but they were transacted in the last 6 months. So all this Bitcoin, this 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, Bitcoin that's been bought up by these ETFs, well, yeah, that was traded, but now it's gone, right? They're not going to sell anytime soon, most likely. Of course, some people could, I guess, take profits, but the demand has been so high that we haven't seen any kind of net outflows from any ETFs. Like, yes, GBTC has balanced out and has caused some selling pressure where we had negative days, but it's not like there have been days where BlackRock or Fidelity have had net outflows. Every single day, it's like they're making a couple $100,000 or a couple $1 million more in fees over the long term of this ETF. Like, every day is a net positive for them. So it is interesting to see how much Bitcoin is really being held and is being bought by long-term holders. I know I've been buying Bitcoin, and I don't plan on selling it for a while. Not close to $50,000, that's for sure. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. I do think there are a couple interesting narratives. I'm going to be making a video on a new cryptocurrency that I'm going to be investing in that I think has a big narrative right now. There's also just a couple cryptocurrencies at pretty good prices. When you look at this list, I know I'm very heavy Bitcoin. I talk about being heavy Bitcoin and why I like being heavy Bitcoin. But you look at this list, and there are some cryptocurrencies that just look cheap. Like, when you compare them to others. The one that I'm thinking about specifically is Chainlink. I don't talk about much on the channel, but I do hold a small position of Link. I never built it out as much as I wanted, but I saw it at $20 today, and I thought, oh wow, that's a big move. It's up 35% in the last 30 days. It's moved up to $20. A lot of people were talking about how cheap it was at $15. And then I scroll over and I look at the market cap. Like, of course I know it's top 10, but it's top 10, and market caps change so much in cryptocurrency. Like, yeah, it's number 10, but you move 3 up, and USDC is two and a third times bigger. Like, you can be close to another cryptocurrency in this top list and still be far away from their market cap. I'm just picking USDC because it's close. You could pick XRP and it's about the same thing. But like, when you look at market caps instead of price or where it is on the top 100 list, it does give you a new reference. Like, a lot of people think that maybe Chainlink will hit $100, which honestly, if it hits $100, not super interesting to me. Like, if I just knew that it was going to hit $100, because I think Bitcoin will probably do a 3-4x and it's less risky. But Chainlink, I think, could do more than a 5x. It's at a $12 billion market cap. I would not be surprised if in the bull run this hits $100 billion, an 8x from here, right? So it could be in that mid $100 range. So I'm looking at it. I'm still slowly absorbing, slowly accumulating some cryptos I think are really high quality. Now, if you want to know more information on that, I post my buys over my Patreon. I am going to increase the price, I think today, just because we can't have thousands of new members in there, which will happen. We just can't handle that kind of flow. So we're going to increase the prices a little bit. If you want in at the lower price, you can join it today. Most people won't join today, and then most people will join in the bull market. That's fine. There's also that link to Margex underneath the video. You can check that out if you want to start trading. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video.